Hi, it's Jack Sweeney. Welcome to another episode of 123 by CFO Thought Leader, where we feature 3 different CFOs and highlight some of their strategic thinking, defining career moments, and favorite pastimes. First up, Hetu Patel of Thrive Market. Hetu spent nearly a dozen years at Amazon, and he pulls back the curtain for us on one particular tour of duty at Amazon Prime. Next, Gina Mastantuono of ServiceNow tells us why she champions smart risk-taking while encouraging up-and-coming leaders to embrace failures, push boundaries, and hire diverse talent to unlock your dream teams. Finally, Jeremy Johnson of Dayforce shows how unexpected responsibilities can expand your view. And we'll hear how a missed chance to caddy for Wendy's Dave Thomas taught him that every opportunity counts. And so let's begin. 1, 2, 3.
I'll share an example from my Amazon days here, and it goes back to when I was leading the finance team at Amazon or for the Prime membership program. But before I jump into the example, I'll start with the broader takeaway for me. There was really the key value finance can add is through improving the speed and quality of decision making for a business. When you can find those opportunities and really execute on that behavior change, it can really be transformative. So that is the broader takeaway from this experience that I'm going to share. So when I was leading Prime membership, for those who may not know, is a bundle of several benefits. It includes video benefit, music streaming, books, and free fast shipping, and several other benefits as well. As a bundle of benefit all under one price, Amazon was making a lot of investments and big investments in all of this content, for video content, for music, the books, and the shipping. And it was hard to tell what is the right level of investment in each of those benefits individually, because it's sold as a bundle. And so what I and my finance team undertook was to come up with a framework of taking all the value created from Prime membership and attributing that value to each of the constituent benefits. And it was a pretty heavy cross company undertaking. And the components were really about looking at how much are members engaging with the benefit. And more importantly, when they engage with a benefit, how does it change their propensity to purchase more incrementally and or renew more incrementally. So work closely with the economics team to develop economic causal models, worked with various businesses that were investing in these benefits, video, music, to really stress test the approach and the method, and ultimately came up with this attribution model that really took all the value created by Prime and attributed to each benefit, which then informed billions of dollars of investment, whether that was appropriate in video, in shipping, and provided a better framework for rationalizing the investments in the variety of these benefits, which absent of this was really hard and more subjective. So that was kind of a really crucible moment where it was this aha that the kind of transformative impact better decision making can have is really powerful, and finance can often play a very vital role in that aspect.
When Carbonite went public in 2011, I was leading FP&A at the time. And I took on IR as a part of my finance role. And, to be honest, I was not that excited about that opportunity, which is pretty funny to say in hindsight. I was nervous. Obviously, that skill set didn't come naturally to me at that time, but it was a huge opportunity to develop. And so for the next year and a half or so, I got to build the IR function with the CFO of a brand new public company, meet the analyst community and really get involved. We ended up going on to hire an IR leader who I worked closely with for the next 7 years. So I always participated in the earnings call, always sat in on analyst calls, participated in conferences, et cetera. And so you learn how to tell the story to a public company audience, both the buy side and the sell side. And, that experience certainly has served me well, to be in this role today.
How helping others succeed can help you. I truly believe that teamwork really does make the dream work. And so lean in with your peers. Don't be afraid to ask for help and ask for advice. Second, I would say own up to your own failures. Like, be willing to take risks. If you're willing to take risks, it means you're not going to be right 100% of the time. If you're right 100% of the time, it means you're not taking enough risks, right? So own up to those failures. They make us stronger and they make us wiser. And, I go back always to be okay with taking some risks, right? CFOs in general sometimes are afraid to talk about that and to talk about really being open to, smart risks, not stupid risks, right? But really be open to those risks. Push your boundaries, push yourself outside of your comfort zone. I think, coming up in an industry that was predominantly men, I couldn't imagine a world where I was leading an entire finance organization, let alone for a high growth technology company. So I know how tough it can be. Risk doesn't come easy, especially to some female leaders. So we've got to be willing to push ourselves outside of our comfort zone. And so I think that those are key areas. And the last thing I would say is seek opportunities to learn from people who are different from you. Don't hire people who have the same background, the same skill set, right? You need to bolster your team and hire the best and brightest in their particular areas, right? And then the last thing I would say is, work is work, right? It's not called play for a reason, but figure out a way to enjoy the journey and really love your job. I've been really, really lucky and blessed to work with some incredible people, which has really enabled me to say that I'm in my dream job and just enjoy the journey. Yeah, I'm pretty renowned to be a bit of a gym rat, Jack, right? So I get my stress out in the gym, outside. I love running in the morning to kind of start my day with a fresh perspective. I love being in the gym and working out with weights. It gets my stress out. It helps keep me on that even keel, as you talk about. And then lately, actually, I've actually started meditating, which if anyone knows me knows that that's not usually where I would spend my time. If I had an extra 10 or 20 minutes, I'd usually be in the gym. But I think that as I've gotten older, I'm realizing how impactful stress is on the body, and I'm doing all of this work to be healthy and reduce stress in the gym. But I think that meditating has actually helped me start sleeping a little bit better. It's not a ton. I do 10 minutes a day. I don't do a lot, but that's new. I'm on day 23, Jack. So I'll let you know how that's going.
And I think historically, there's always been this view that shareholders and stakeholders aren't necessarily aligned. But I think what I've realized is over the long term, they're very aligned in terms of maximizing value for all of them together. And I think that now it's more important than ever, because I think you've seen with younger generations, there's this and even customers, I would say there's this movement that wasn't really the case 5 or 10 years ago, where there's a lot of people who are very focused on what is the mission of the company that I work for or the vendor that I use. I think this idea of stakeholder capitalism and really just having a very expansive view of how we create value, and myself as a CFO has a lot of influence on that, is something that has been a big learning for me since I've taken over the job.
It's funny when I started at Smart Recruiters, again, I was willing to do anything, and they certainly, I think, gave me anything. It was, and maybe I should have asked more questions, but they said, okay, hey, welcome CFO. You are also going to own HR, you're going to own privacy, and you're going to own legal. So here's your team, along with finance, and it was, look, it's great. I only owned HR for a little bit, and we were just in a transition period, but all of it really good learning experience. I think that's maybe the point, though, is I wish, I think someone could have told me, everything's a learning experience. It sounds pretty obvious, but I think it's so easy to take a short-term, checklist type view to a day or a week or a month or a quarter or a year. I wish someone would have helped remind me during the busiest of times, take every meeting and every interaction and every mistake as a learning opportunity and help prepare you for the future. It's just be a sponge and soak everything up. And it's not just a task. So I think, I probably did an okay job of that in my career, but I do look back and think to myself, would have been less task oriented and more of a sponge in certain circumstances. Sure. There's a story that my family likes to tell at holidays and things like that. It's a funny story, but it's actually something that's kind of quietly driven me for a long time. It happened when I was a teenager, and at the time, my job was I was caddying at a local country club in Dublin, Ohio, where I grew up. Now, Dublin, Ohio is the home of Wendy's, the fast food chain. And everyone in the town knew of Dave Thomas, who was the late founder of Wendy's. And he was like a local celebrity. And if you ever saw him around, it was just a huge, huge deal. This is before social media and everything, but it was a big deal. And you tell your friends. Well, one morning in the summer, it was supposed to be a day off for me. And my mom walks into my room and wakes me up at 6:30 in the morning. And she says, hey, Club Pro's on the phone. She wants to know if you want to caddy. And typical sleepy teenager on his day off, says, no, I'm good. It's my day off. Let someone else do it. And my mom walks into my brother's bedroom, the next door, and he's also a caddy, and asks him the same question. He jumps right up and typical firstborn child, and says, sure, I'll make some more money. And later that day, my brother comes home and he's got $250 in his hand, and a great story about how he got to caddy for Dave Thomas and a U.S. senator from Ohio. He got the double bag. And I just thought to myself, what do I have? Some sleep? It's unbelievable. So from that moment on, I try to think about how attitude really drives and makes a difference. And it's, every time I think about hitting the snooze button, I think about Dave Thomas, I guess.
I remember I had done all the analysis and I was so passionate. I was getting really frustrated because I'm like, this is going to make a lot of money. And I couldn't figure out how to convince him. So finally, I just said, look, I'll make you a bet. I will bet my entire bonus for the year. If this fails, you can have it. You have my bonus. If it wins, you double my bonus. And he just laughed at me and said, if you're that confident, I'm going to do it. And we're going to go ahead and make this happen. But the point I share that with is it's that I think if we limit ourselves in finance to just hey, make a recommendation and then keep that wall, that kind of glass wall between us, sometimes it's not personal enough. I think that putting that emotion, that excitement in to where you're part of the business, it's your soul on the line. That's what makes a great finance person, is when you're not just the recommender. It's you. You're there. You're involved.
Thank you for joining us on 123, from Heitu's framework for delivering total value to Gina's advice for taking smart risks, and Jeremy's reminder to seize every opportunity. If you enjoyed the episode, please subscribe to CFO Thought Leader. I'm Jack Sweeney, and until next time, this is 123.